Good afternoon. The time is now 2:34 p.m. on your Wednesday afternoon, May 20th. I'm meteorologist Alexis Clemens. We do have some updates to tell you about. We saw a couple of storms yesterday. Right now, we have another chance for storms, and we already have a severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued. So thanks for joining us here on this afternoon before our shows are starting up. This is brand new information within the last about 30 minutes or so. We have a severe thunderstorm watch. This extends all the way down to parts of West Virginia, into Virginia, quite a bit of Pennsylvania, all of New Jersey, and southern Connecticut. So all of our southern counties, that's Fairfield, New Haven, Middlesex, and New London counties, under a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 p.m. today. So that is what we are monitoring. Northern Connecticut likely will not be extended into the watch. We're really expecting this the further south that you go. So for the shoreline, this also includes the sound here. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we are monitoring. So I'm going to go ahead and show you your satellite and radar right now. Let's actually go ahead and show you this live look here, because it shows we actually have already had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. This is in Pennsylvania and Maryland, those areas there. But we're monitoring that wave moving into the region within the next about hour and a half or so. If you have any questions about anything, of course, let us know by commenting, and hopefully we'll be able to see that and give you an update. And here, I'll go ahead and zoom in on what's kind of happening to our west right now. So that is a severe thunderstorm warning, parts of West Virginia into Virginia and really close to Maryland. Those are some pretty nasty storms there in south central Pennsylvania. And what it's going to do is head in our direction. So as I zoom out here, let me go ahead and grab my little arrow as I kind of monitor this. So, let me grab my arrow. But we're really going to be monitoring this little guy as it makes its way into southern Connecticut. So the Sound, Long Island, and southern Connecticut is where this system is heading. We've got a lot of energy for our storms to work with, and I think they're going to be very similar to what we saw yesterday, but for different areas, because a lot of areas, and I can even show some rainfall totals from yesterday, we saw about a half an inch or so of some very heavy rain in a very intense, smaller period of time, right? So 0.6 of an inch in Ellington. Now areas are going to be further to the south. We have a great question right now, which I'm going to go ahead and put up here, because I think that's a fantastic question. So question is, will northern Connecticut get rain even though we don't have a watch? There's a chance we could see a couple of showers in northern Connecticut, but as for severe weather, that's just not expected for areas north of really Middletown. So for northern Connecticut, you're not in the watch. We'll go ahead and show you that again. So, and here, I'll go ahead and zoom in on Connecticut. So northern Connecticut's not in the watch. They're not expected to be extended into the watch. Like I said, you could see a couple of showers, maybe at best a quick burst of rain, but severe weather is not expected at this time. And I can actually tell you one of the reasons why. One of the things that we look at when putting out things like this is our wind direction. For our storms to really ignite this time of year, we need a westerly or southwesterly wind component. Northern Connecticut's not getting that, especially Litchfield County. Nothing expected there for sure. And here, let me go ahead and take that down here. So these areas, which, here, let me grab my little pointer again. So this area right here, that's all of our southern counties. That's where we've got more of that westerly wind component. That's where we're monitoring, especially on the shoreline there. That's where we're watching for that development. And these are going to be storms that pop up, right? You don't really see them move in, but we're going to watch them kind of pop up across the region. Somebody's asking about timing. Let's talk about timing a little bit. So let's go ahead and break down that timing for you. I think our models are doing a really good job of showing this. So right now, here, let's go ahead and go back out. So right now in Connecticut, couple of little showers that are trying to pop up there in northern Connecticut. So like I said, there's still a chance for rain in the northern part of the state, but those are not severe, and they will likely not turn severe. We're not expecting that there. There's just more energy to work with in the southern part of the state, and I think our models are doing a really good job of that. So you see that by about 4 p.m. So it's 2:39 right now. By about 4 p.m., that's when we expect these storms to start to fire up over parts of the state. And you'll notice it's as this cold front moves across the region. So it's at this point, that front is right over the central part of the state. Let me go ahead and grab my pointer again. It's right about here. This is where our front is at this time. So as the afternoon progresses, it's going to move further and further south. And what we need for these storms to form, we've got two of the ingredients. We've got the heat, we've got the moisture, right? It's humid. All we need now is a mechanism that will allow these storms to fire up, which is the cold front that's coming through. So that's what we're monitoring, and that's why we're monitoring it for the southern part of the state. So your timing is from starting at about 4 p.m., but note that our severe thunderstorm watch is already in effect, but I don't really expect those things to start to fire up until closer to the 4 o'clock hour. So that's kind of what we're watching here, and you can see those storms again. This is just future satellite and radar, but after about 4 p.m. and then through roughly the 8 p.m. hour or so, by 9 p.m. it should be dipping to our south, and that threat should be diminishing as the sun sets. So great question there. So that's kind of what we're expecting, and it's again expected for our southern counties. And let me go ahead and pull that up once again. Somebody's asking, will it thunderstorm in Hartford? I don't think it will, like it did yesterday. That was pretty rough. Those were storms that fired up pretty quickly for yesterday. And here, let me go ahead and zoom back into Connecticut here. So Hartford, a couple of showers possible, but we're not expecting severe weather or really much in the way of thunderstorm activity. It's always possible when it gets this warm and it's this humid, but I'll say the highest potential for those storms to really get going is going to be to our south. And the biggest threats that we're monitoring are strong winds, some very heavy rain in a quick spell there. So winds could gust upwards of about 60, 70 miles an hour. Hail is going to be a threat there as well, potentially up to like a quarter or a little bit higher of a size. That's about an inch and a half for that hail. Hartford County, we're not expecting severe thunderstorms or anything like that. Not like we saw yesterday. That threat really is more moved to our southern areas here. Beacon Falls, definitely within that watch. Wind is going to be an issue. Moodus is in the watch as well, so something to keep in mind. I'll tell you, though, the further south you are, the better chance there is. I know meteorologist Anthony Carpino is set up on the shoreline, so he's ready. If those storms fire up, he'll be ready to report on them. So, but we definitely are expecting them the further south that you go. Somebody's asking, looking ahead, is the weekend a washout? We can talk about that a little bit. So the weekend, I don't know if you've seen, but it's holiday weekend, and we do have rain chances that are expected across much of the area. I do not expect it to be a washout, though, and I'll kind of tell you what. I mean, again, it's Wednesday. Changes can happen between now and then, but I can show you a look at this, which I think kind of tells the story for Saturday. The latest thinking for Saturday afternoon is actually that most of the rain wants to stay to our southwest. So if you're up toward, the quiet corner there, northeast Connecticut and Boston, you might miss out on the rain on Saturday. And we are not expecting a washout at this point. I think it's waves of rain, but something that we're monitoring for sure. It's definitely not going to feel as great. Last weekend was gorgeous, the 70s and the 80s. Now we're talking about the upper 50s and low 60s. So not feeling like the unofficial start to summer, which we all, associate with Memorial Day weekend. Somebody's asking, what about power issues? Are we talking about losing power? I mean, unfortunately, with any storms, that's always a possibility. I don't think these are going to be ground rattling kind of storms, you know what I mean? But still, I think a couple, and again, they're very spotty. very spotty. Just like yesterday, not everybody sees the rain. And I was in Newington yesterday when it was raining, and then the sun came out while it was still raining. Beautiful rainbows, but it's a weird setup. The atmosphere, it's very bubbly, right? It's not everybody sees this rain. It's very isolated when these things pop up. So if you can get an isolated wind gust up to 70 miles per hour, there's always going to be that possibility, of course, with lightning and thunder as well. It's a little bit difficult to nail down what town is going to see it. That's what makes our job very difficult, but we can narrow down an area, right? An area that it's more likely to happen, or the possibility of that happening is there. And here's again that look at southern Connecticut, where we are expecting that potential for those stronger to severe storms up towards between Norwich, Meriden, and Danbury areas to the south is kind of what we're expecting there. Waterbury and Middletown, maybe a couple of showers, but for the most part, I think the activity stays a little bit further to the south. These are great questions. We'll continue to answer whatever you might have as we go through the next a little bit. And of course, we'll have updates on our news on air, and you can stream us online at nbcconnecticut.com. Starting at 4 p.m. We'll be on air for quite some time for our local news. We'll have updates for all of that. Let's go ahead and again just kind of show you a rundown of the next few hours for us. And again, this is mostly going to be for southern Connecticut, but by about 4 p.m. right now, it's 2:45. So by about 4 p.m., we start to see a couple of those storms. Yeah, you can see them pop up, and they're so interesting. I was watching it yesterday, enjoying the nice, very warm day. You can see those bubbly clouds. Those are your cumulus clouds. They're growing. You can see the thunderstorms in the distance. It's a really cool sight. But once it gets close to you, it's time to go indoors, of course. But that's what we're expecting again today. And here, let me go ahead and grab my little pointer one more time. Yesterday, all of those storms were up here towards Hartford, Newington, Berlin, Cromwell. All of us kind of saw, that activity, right? Today, that boundary that ignited all of those storms has pushed further to the south. So that's why, let's grab that little guy again. That's why it's really expected the further south that you go. So closer to the shoreline, southern Connecticut, Hamden, Essex, those areas there, right? Thinking of, Mohegan Sun, Foxwoods, areas near there, Preston, those kinds of areas could see that through the afternoon. I'm just trying to name off as many towns as I can think of off the top of my head. But that's what we're expecting. So basically, it's kind of the same deal as yesterday, except our boundary that ignites those storms has shifted just a little bit further to the south. So more of our southern regions would get in on this thunderstorm action than the rest of us. Danbury, you're going to be right on the line. I think you're going to see a couple of showers, or at least the potential for them. Again, it could hit your area or a neighboring town. That's the frustrating part about forecasting these things is they're so isolated. They look more like this, very, very spotty, right? Where one town gets it, another town right next door wouldn't have seen anything. And that's kind of what we saw yesterday, right? Danbury, you're right on the line. You're in the severe thunderstorm watch, so I would definitely take it seriously. You might see a couple of those storms fire up after about 4 p.m. or so. And yeah, I would definitely monitor it. It definitely, the threat increases the further south that you go south from Danbury, but you're on the line and you definitely have the chance to see a couple of stronger storms. So I would definitely keep an eye on that over the next about 3 to 4 hours or so. West Haven's in the threat as well. So I would definitely be paying attention to that as we close in on the 4, 5, 6 p.m. hour for sure. Same thing with Woolkit. You're in the warning or the watch as well. Middletown's right on the edge. I think for the most part, most of the activity stays south of Middletown, but you're right on the line there. So you might still see a couple of showers and maybe a couple of stronger storms. You guys are so many towns. Wallingford, you're in the threat. So something to keep in mind over the next couple of hours here. Our watch does go until 9 p.m. I don't think the threat would genuinely be extended to that point. We would likely see an expiration of our watch before then, but just know after it really goes until the sun sets. The closer we get to sunset, the severe threat diminishes, right? So, but we're in the peak right now between now and about 6 p.m. or so, where those storms will likely fire up, just like yesterday. Wallingford, definitely in it. Manchester, I think you're pretty much on the okay side. You shouldn't really see much of anything. Maybe a couple of showers, but you're not in the threat. So that's good news there. Waterbury, you're right on the line. You're right on the line there. You could see a couple of showers, but you definitely saw those storms yesterday, right? So, Waterbury, you might see a couple of showers, maybe a strong storm, but nothing like what we saw yesterday, right? I think most of it should stay to the south. Cheshire, yep, you're in the threat. It definitely extends. The threat increases the further south that you go, but it's still there for sure. We have another question. Pomfret, you should be fine. I think the rain stays mostly south of you, so I'm not expecting that either. So I'm just trying to answer as many questions as I can get. Somebody's asking about Sunday a little bit more. This weekend, there's still a lot of things up in the air with the timing, what exactly we're seeing here. And it's still a little bit up in the air. I can show you the latest 10-day forecast that's just been updated. We are expecting some showers, especially I think Saturday is a little bit more salvageable. It's Sunday where I don't think there's not really a chance for rain all day long, but I mean, let me rephrase that. There is a chance for rain all day long, but there will be some spots of dry time. It's a little too far out to exactly be able to nail down that timing for you, but it's not looking great, unfortunately. Upper 50s, low 60s for Sunday with rain on and off through the day. And I know, yes, last weekend was so beautiful when it came to the weather. And of course, Memorial Day weekend, a lot of people have it off. Not looking too great in our region, unfortunately. People are asking about Thompson, Vernon, Windsor Locks. My plants are very excited here in Waterford. Okay. Let me try to answer all of these. Everybody's asking about towns. So let's go ahead and break that down again as well. Let me go ahead and go back to the weather alerts here. Portland, I think it stays mostly to the south of you, but you're close. You're close to that line. So again, you might see a couple of showers, but the biggest threat for severe weather stays to your south. Thompson, you're all the way up in the corner of the state. You're okay. You're going to be just fine. I don't really even think you see much rain, if any, at all. You're in the northeast corner, so you're going to be good. Vernon, I'm thinking you're fine as well. For the most part, rain stays to the south. Couple of showers could pop up, but severe threat should stay to our south. Again, this is all based on, because there are three different things we look at when we're forecasting thunderstorms. We need heat and humidity. All of the state has that. So there's always going to be a chance because we already have two of the three ingredients that we need for storms to form. However, over southern Connecticut is where the third and kind of the bigger forecasting element is that we're looking at here. And that's a boundary. That's our cold front. That's what created all of those thunderstorms and really allowed them to fire up. It ignites our storms, right? We have two ingredients. They're here. You feel it outside. The heat and humidity, that's two ingredients that we need. The third is what ignites our storms. We're centering that over southern Connecticut. But just know all of the state has two of those ingredients. There's always going to be a chance for a couple of showers to form in these conditions, but the severe threat comes later on today. Windsor Locks should be fine. Again, a couple of showers possible. Severe threat stays to the south. Stamford, you're kind of in the thick of it, so I would be prepared. Stamford by within the next hour or so. So as we close in on the 4 p.m. hour, we could see a couple of storms starting to form. Shelton as well, you're in the thick of it, so I would monitor that through the afternoon and evening hours. Somebody's asking about timing. Let's go ahead and break that down for you again as well. I'm going to go ahead and start with the current satellite and radar just to get another look at it at 2:53 p.m. Actually, let's look at this one to see if there are any current severe thunderstorm warnings. So this is again here at 2:53 p.m. Look at that. There in Virginia, West Virginia, in parts of Maryland, those are severe storms and they're firing up. They're firing up along that boundary. And we're expecting it to move further to the northeast, and that would line up right along southern Connecticut there. But you can see a couple of showers over towards Scranton. That's a little storm that's trying to fire up there. And here, let's go ahead and zoom in. A couple of showers there in northern Connecticut. We're not expecting those to become big storms, though. So that's good news. But the further south this boundary moves, the more energy there is to work with. And while it's almost 3 p.m., we're seeing a couple of showers there, likely within the next hour or two. So that puts us at about 4 or 5 p.m. We're expecting storms to fire up. And once they do, that threat will stick with us, likely through about 7, maybe 8 p.m. at the latest. So basically from now until the sun sets, we're going to keep an eye on that. Right now, no storms have fired up, but we are monitoring that. And they're very difficult to exactly pin down when they will form. But you can kind of tell if you're actually out and about, you might be able to see those cumulus clouds, those fluffy clouds as they grow. They grow higher. I mean, you can see that from the distance. It's pretty cool. I saw it yesterday as I was out and about, and it is a very cool sight to see. And even though I've seen it a million times as a meteorologist, it still excites me after all this time. West Haven, you're going to be in the thick of it. You definitely have that threat over the next couple of hours, so monitor that for sure. Waterbury, you're right on. Waterbury and Middletown are right on the line. And I do think we see a couple of showers. And again, look at how spotty they are already on our radar, right? Not everybody sees it. Waterbury could see rain, but then over in like Watertown, nothing. That's the name of the game when it comes to this stuff. So it's very hard to exactly nail down where these showers and storms will form because they're so spotty in nature. It just depends on little itty bitty things that we just can't get that, deep into. But we can tell you that as the rain progresses to the south and as storms start to fire up to the south, the threat for those storms to really be able to create some strong winds, some small hail, gusty winds, heavy downpours, that'll definitely increase the further south that you go. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Just checked upstate New York where the front has passed through, 23 degrees cooler than Bethel. Yeah, I mean, just wait until that cold front comes through. That's a great point. Let's go ahead and take a look at those temperatures because a huge cool down is on the way. It was a little too hot for me yesterday. Honestly, it's a little too hot today as well. Air conditioning is great, but now it's going to get much cooler, right? And here, I'll go ahead and show you those temperatures here. Look at that. 57 in Binghamton, 89 here in Hartford. That is a strong cold front that's coming through, and that's also helping to ignite all of these storms. So thanks for pointing that out for us. We really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, this is a very strong cold front, and yeah, if you want to wait till after this rain moves through, it's going to feel lovely this evening. It'll be drier with cooler conditions for sure to go for a walk, walk the dogs, go for a run, anything like that, right? So really, really cool stuff. And this is a very, very good visual here. Somebody was asking about Griswold. You're going to be, you're in the threat for sure. Couple of showers and a couple of thunderstorms could fire up near you. So something to monitor for sure. But yeah, look at that temperature divide. 57 in Binghamton. You drive over to Poughkeepsie though, and it's 87 degrees. So that's a 30-degree drop. And that's what we're going to see tonight. Temperatures will drop into the 50s tonight. And then we'll be in the 60s and 70s the rest of the week. Even the 50s on Sunday, not looking great. But yeah, good point about those temperatures. Really, really, really warm there. Yeah, 89 in New York as well, 93 in Philadelphia. You can just see where that cooler air is, and it's just behind these storms. So as soon as these storms roll through, give it not too much longer behind it, and things are really going to cool down for sure. So I'm going to wrap it up because we have to get ready for our show coming up at 4 p.m. This is just the latest. If you have any questions, of course, let us know. We would love to answer them. You can message me on social media. You can email us. Email us your reports as well. We saw some beautiful rainbows yesterday. You can email us, share it at nbcconnecticut.com. We love to see all of what you guys send in because you guys are such talented talented photographers. And let us know your reports as well. If you start to see rain coming in, you can see those storms in the distance, you hear the thunder, let us know. We really appreciate all of that. And before I let you go, as we close in on the 3 p.m. hour, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Looks like Heartland's seen a quick little downpour of rain. That does not look thunderstorm-y. That's not the correct word, but thunderstorm-y is what we're going to use. That does not look, the correct word is convective. That's the correct word. Does not look convective in nature. Just a couple of showers, but a quick little downpour there. Might see some rainbows nearby because of how spotty this rain is. So yeah, quick little downpour there in Heartland. That's this system starting to set up. You see a couple of showers in Massachusetts. We are not expecting the severe weather there. It's really over the southern part of the state. So we're going to watch that progress over the next hour or so. So you probably have another hour or so. Somebody's asking about power outages, specifically in Madison, Connecticut. Madison, you're going to be in the thick of it, unfortunately. We can't really predict the power outages, but unfortunately, winds are going to be gusting up to, 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour, which is the severe threshold there. So there's always that potential, but hopefully that doesn't happen for you. But something to keep in mind, of course, and always better to be prepared than not. So what time for Southern Connecticut approximately? The timing here, we're thinking this is going to start up within the next hour. Unfortunately, it genuinely depends on where you are in Southern Connecticut. And these are storms, we can't track them in, they pop up, but we're expecting them to pop up within the next hour or two. So between about 4 and 5 p.m. So my greatest tip for you is to look at the radar, especially on our NBC Connecticut app. It's free and you can just put in your location and it'll literally, I love it because it tells you when rain is going to be starting in your region within the next 15 minutes. It's a fantastic resource. I genuinely use it all the time and it's very accurate, I will say. So that's what I would recommend. I know a lot of people are going to be leaving work soon. School pickups likely are probably, coming up pretty soon as well. So, again, download the app. I find it as a very, very helpful tool because within, if it's going to be raining in your region within the next 5 to 10 minutes, it will literally send a notification to you so you don't have to worry about it. You can go about doing your things. It's a great tool. I definitely would recommend it. And as again, the timing is going to start up in the next hour or so. By about 4 or 5 p.m. is what we're monitoring. And of course, we will we'll keep you updated here as well. So again, thank you so much for joining us. It's 3:01 p.m. We'll keep you updated as these storms roll in. We'll be here online on air anywhere that you stream us. You can always stream us at nbcconnecticut.com. We're going to have those live updates for you. We have a lot, of course, going on and then big changes on the way behind this. Remember, the 90s the last 4 days, and now the 60s and even the 50s are going to be here by this weekend for Memorial Day. So that's what we're tracking. Big changes are on the way. Thanks for joining us for this quick update as the severe thunderstorm watch has gone into effect. It's in effect through this evening, through 9 p.m. So we'll continue to monitor those storms then, and we'll keep you updated. Everybody stay safe, stay cool with the heat that's going on, and stay safe from those storms as they fire up across the region. We'll keep you updated, and we'll talk to you guys later.